National Party leader Christopher Luxon, good morning.
Good morning, good to be with you.
We are 6 months out from an election roughly. Are you ready to be Prime Minister?
Absolutely. I mean, we're bringing the policies and the ideas, we're talking about them each and every week to the New Zealand people and really laying up our vision of where we want to go with New Zealand.
Is there anything that you sort of learned along this journey that has left you in a different space than you were even 6 months ago?
No, look, I think the last 2 years for me, there's two feelings that come out. One is huge hope and optimism about the future for New Zealand. I think we have a great future ahead of us. We have incredible people. We have endless potential. But I also feel more strongly than ever before that we are totally, utterly, completely going in the wrong direction, and we're not realising that potential, and we're not solving our big problems and challenges that we have. And so, that's the choice that the New Zealand people are going to have on October the 14th.
So your party has made sweeping promises over the cost of living, lifting incomes, building infrastructure, law and order, health and education. It's a pretty long shopping list of things you want to achieve. What happens if you can't deliver?
Well, they are the critical things that New Zealanders need us to deliver because, when you think about the cost of living, New Zealand is going backwards. Every New Zealander is going backwards. This government has mismanaged the economy terribly. It's created huge amounts of inflation, causing huge amounts of pain and suffering for everyday Kiwis. Financially, it's tough out there. You have 20,000 New Zealanders not able to make their mortgage payments. You have 430,000 New Zealanders not able to pay back other debt. The Reserve Bank saying 22% of all income will actually be paid out on interest bills in the next few months. So there is a real economic challenge. And so the to-do list when we get to government is very simple. It is reduce the cost of living, grow incomes for all by growing the economy, build and invest in a resilient, future-proofed infrastructure, restore law and order, which is a major challenge, and make sure that we deliver better health and education. So I'm crystal clear about the priorities of what I need to do in government, and that's my to-do list and my starting point to turn the country around and get it back on track again.
So you're not worried at all that you've overpromised in any way?
No, that's the work that we have to deliver because the situation that as we have today is untenable. We have a government that has actually caused so much economic mismanagement that it has created the pain and suffering that Kiwis are experiencing today. What the people of New Zealand need is a leader who actually understands the economy and can actually get it working for people so they can get ahead.
Do you think Wright Robertson doesn't understand the economy?
I have to be honest and say I don't see anybody on the Labor side that has the experience in understanding how an economy works. And what is needed to make an economy work so that people can actually get ahead and get the things that they need. It's through a strong economy that we get to invest in healthcare and our education system. It's through a strong economy we get to invest in infrastructure. So it's a strong economy that enables us to make sure our police have the tools to restore law and order. So that is job number one, is to make sure I take the pressure and the burden off New Zealanders by tackling the causes of inflation and getting the job done.
If you can't deliver, is there a concern that you are guaranteeing another term for Labor?
I wouldn't worry. Going back through my track record, I'm very comfortable with my ability to deliver. I think that's something that I do differently from a whole bunch of career politicians in this government who have no track record of delivery and getting things done. I put my record of real-world leadership and getting things turned around and getting things done up against any of them.
So just onto the budget. So we've got the budget this month. What do you want to see and what can we expect from National in the lead up?
Well, we know what we're going to get from Labor, a government that actually over the last 5 budgets has done an absolutely appalling job of overspending its allowance, of overtaxing New Zealanders, of over-borrowing, printing too much money, causing domestic inflation, causing huge interest rate rises, slowing the economy up and ultimately going to lead to higher unemployment. That's the legacy and the record that the Labor Party leave us. So for me it's very clear, we want to see disciplined spending. We need to be able to see tax relief for individuals so they can actually navigate this challenge. And importantly, we need to see a plan to grow the economy. That's how we will make our way in the world in the future.
But do you see the promises that you've made and the things you want to resolve are hugely expensive? You'll be inheriting a New Zealand with aged infrastructure and basically everywhere.
We're going to be inheriting a country that is broken down.
Yeah.
And I'm really clear-eyed about that. And that's why I say to you it's a turnaround job. We are going to turn the country around and we're going to get things done. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Will it require a lot of work and hard decisions and tough choices? Yes, it will. But we need to get ourselves to a different and better place because New Zealand has been slipping relative to other places. So I will run things differently. I'm a person who's come from outside politics. I've been here 2 years. I've successfully led and turned around large organisations around the world and in here in New Zealand, and we're going to have a different approach for actually how we actually deliver results for New Zealanders. That's all that matters, is outcomes, and that's what this government doesn't understand. A lot of activity, a lot of spending money, but not delivering outcomes.
When will we hear more from you? I mean, this all sounds great. This is a great vision. But when will we, get past the sort of slogans? Because these are really complicated problems that New Zealand is facing.
Well, I just think you haven't probably been paying attention this year, because okay. I'd just say to you, go look at our local water done well plan, the detail of how to navigate our three waters, and I was talking to mayors about that again last night. Go look at our proposal around how we teach the basics brilliantly, proposing an hour of maths, reading and writing. Why? Because we need to be able to get that job. That's the number one job in education to get done, so that we can realise this economic future that we want to have, the society that we want to have. Go look at what we've talked about with respect to electrifying New Zealand, seriously getting ourselves on a pathway to be able to reduce our emissions and to deal with climate change. Go look at the work that we're doing to power up our farming sector, key part of an economic backbone to get us through. So I just would put it to you, the National Party, look at the program that we've said, look, we've got a shortage of work nurses in our healthcare system. We've said let's bond our nurses into the New Zealand system for 5 years, and we will happily pay $22,500 of their student loan. So, we have the policies, we've had the ideas. Every week there's something new coming out. Encourage New Zealanders to, if they can't get it through the media, go to our website and look and digest with those ideas.
What have you had much feedback on that nursing proposal?
Yeah, we've had tremendous feedback. I mean, we built it in conjunction with trainee nurses and also established nurses. But there is a good example of what I'm talking about solving a problem. Either we have a 4,000 nurse shortage or we don't. And we can debate numbers, and you can say, we can talk about it all day long. We've in fact been talking about it now for a year and a half. Or you do something about it. And what we're saying is we're going to grow and incentivise young people to go into nursing. We're going to pay back their student debt if they be a nurse or a midwife, and we're going to have them stay in our system for 5 years. Because at the moment, every nurse we train, we lose 1 or 2 out the bottom end. So we've got to stop that, and we've got to start to do our very, very best to make it much more attractive for people in New Zealand. On the other hand, we need to open up our competitiveness on immigration so that we can really attract international qualified nurses that are here as well. So come to New Zealand for 6 months on a temporary visa, bring your family with you, find a job, and we'll support you with a $10,000 relocation package. Now, both those ideas of building talent from within New Zealand and attracting great talent from overseas is an example of a solution to a problem that we have around a nurse workforce. Not the only one, but a first logical, sensible first step.
But, I mean, that's going to take a while to build up, and it's going to be expensive. Do you
it's not going to be expensive. It's about
ageing infrastructure.
It's about $60 million a year for that particular program, and that comes out very easily of the remaining balance of the $400 million worth of consultancy spend we're going to stop. But I want to get really clear: we are turning the country around. We're either going to go solve that problem, or we're going to keep talking about that problem for years ahead of us. And not only that, but the problem gets worse. We have an ageing workforce in nurses. We now have a situation where Australia has really done a clever job of being able to tap into New Zealand talent and to be able to siphon that through to Australia. And so we're going to lose more. So you have to put plans in place to do the very best we can, to be the most competitive we can, in order to solve the problems that we have.
Yeah. On the sort of nurses in Australia, we've heard from nurses. Obviously, pay is a huge factor, but it's turning up to a shift and it's short-staffed, extremely busy, huge stress. The hospital's in not the best condition. It's not a very nice working environment. All these other factors are a big sort of push factor for nurses really to go to Australia. But I just mean those sorts of factors are going to take a bit longer to resolve, sort of upgrading that infrastructure and making it a more enjoyable place to work, turning around culture. Those are really big
Sure,
jobs.
But you've got a problem, and it's going to get worse, and so you have to start somewhere. And what I'm saying to you is, let's start with the things that we can control, of how we build and attract talent and retain talent in nursing and value it as a result. We've got more work to do. We have to move. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been sent into a bureaucracy here in Health New Zealand. None of that money has led to more services. We are in a perverse situation. I had someone call me up just surgery to take place. So, we have problems in New Zealand, and we should be really clear about defining them and then having solutions that deal with those problems. But I am over the talk and I'm over the discussion, because we either have a nurses shortage or we don't. And so what are we going to do to solve that problem? And I've heard nothing from this government. In fact, all we heard last year was, no, we don't need them on a green list. We don't need them on a green list. Well, Australia's had them on there for some time.
Just last couple of questions. Back to Parliament. So it's been a distracting week for Labour and the Greens. Do you have any advice for Chris Hipkins and James Shaw about how to get their
I think
caucus under
distracting
control?
would be an understatement. It has been a debacle, a shambles, messy, and it just shows you a government that's falling apart. Every single week since the beginning of this year, since Chris Hipkins took office, we have a personnel issue in the Labour Party. We now have personnel issues in the Greens Party, and we see grandstanding from the Te Pāti Māori. And so that is the coalition of chaos that you will be getting if you choose to vote Labour on October 14th. I don't think that's what New Zealand needs. New Zealand needs strong, stable government that knows how to run an economy and navigate the challenging waters we're about to go through. And all I'll say to your listeners and viewers is you've got to party vote national.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.